Welcome to I'll Be There, the ultimate wedding podcast by Priya
and Nim
from Pristine Events. Whether you're a bride-to-be
or a groom gearing up
or just a wedding lover at heart, we've got you.
Welcome to the very first episode of our brand new podcast, I'll Be There by Pristine Events. Your go-to podcast for everything wedding related, event related, and, well, anything in between.
That's right. So whether you are planning your own wedding, whether you work in the industry and one of our fellow suppliers who just want to see what's going on, or if you want to know about all the behind the scenes gossip and drama, this is the podcast for you.
So just some introductions. I'm Nim.
I'm Priya, and we are a husband and wife duo who own and run Pristine Events. We have seen everything from your picture perfect Instagram moments to literally seeing guests walk in, trip, pour their cocktail on a bright white wedding cake a minute before the couple are due to enter. So we have seen everything. The whole point of this podcast is to give you lots of tips, trends, tricks and inspo, and hopefully lots of jokes along the way.
So the podcast isn't just going to be yourself and myself talking. We're going to have lots of amazing guests. We're going to have suppliers, other vendors in the industry, previous couples, prospective couples, and even the rest of our team.
Yeah, exactly that. And of course, I think what's really important is that we are also going to share lots of our own advice and experience, having got married ourselves twice, once in this country and once abroad. I think we can bring lots of value from our own experiences and having actually gone through that whole journey as a bride and groom, and we just want to make sure we can give you all as much advice and inspo as possible. So let's get started.
And just to clarify, when she said we got married twice, that was twice to each other. We didn't have any previous marriages.
Thanks for clarifying that. So let's just start with a bit about ourselves. I actually am a dentist. I still do dentistry 2 days a week. I specialise in cosmetic dentistry, which I love, but my passion has always been events. I've been that girl ever since I can remember who would organise everything from birthdays to dogs' birthdays to big charity balls to helping with friends' weddings. And even at uni, obviously, I worked in a wedding catering company, and that really taught me a lot about the industry and all the wedding BTS. And now I also do Pristine.
Yeah, so I mean, that's how we met. We both went to King's. You're a dentist, I'm a doctor. Same campus, despite different degrees. Working as a doctor has been thoroughly rewarding, and in the last couple of years made some decisions to sort of transition outside of medicine, but still work as a doctor alongside starting Pristine Events, but now kind of transitioning into consulting. I think there's a lot of skills that from being a doctor, being a dentist, that we've been able to utilise in the wedding industry, mainly to do with dealing with lots of different people from all different walks of life. Our communication skills, our problem solving skills, and just kind of managing teams and dealing with sometimes very limited resources, such as in the NHS, and still managing to get things to come together to achieve a desired outcome.
Yeah, I think that's really a key point, because I think people would never put those careers together, but actually, like you said, there is so much overlap, especially with dealing under pressure. And I think, like you said initially, like being able to talk to different types of people is an amazing skill. And I think working in any sort of healthcare profession, you really learn to adapt how you are and how you talk and how you communicate things depending on the vibe. Like we can tell which couples we can have jokes with and which couples are more serious and want to get straight to the point, and you don't want to have those kind of like that kind of banter with. So I think it's definitely taught us a lot in that respect. And then I suppose in terms of starting Pristine, it started about 2 years ago now, just after our destination wedding. And I think I just said to you, like, we do this so much on the side anyway, like why don't we just make it a thing? And that's kind of how it was born, without too much expectation, and it's just kind of, we've just gone with it, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, you've obviously always kind of been into your events, and
I
think I have, but without realising it as clearly. So obviously with your birthdays, your charity balls, your dad's surprise birthdays, you've always been planning events, whereas I've kind of always been involved in events from childhood in terms of attending sort of cultural things, helping my dad out, sorting out stages, props, all sorts of things at school. I was involved in our sort of Asian cultural show, being the president. And then at university with various shows such as the infamous fashion show. So I mean, there's been lots of involvement in different events, different types of events, and I think with your sort of creativity, your desire to kind of celebrate all the time, and my I guess, somewhat expertise in organisation. I think it's just been a combination that's really worked, and I think couples have really felt that over the last couple of years. They've really valued their ability to kind of understand us and us understand them, and treat them as equals, and treat them with mutual respect, so that we can kind of achieve exactly what they dream of, whilst also, for the most part, I think they've enjoyed the journey with us, because they can relate to us, we can relate to them. We got married within the last couple of years, and we know exactly what they're going through. We want to make sure that they had as amazing a few days as we did.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right in the sense that we bring different things, which is why I think it works really well. Like, your expertise is very much like logistics, guest management. So like during our wedding, I would always call Nimlan GWM, which is guest welfare management, because your priority was the guest experience, the guest flow, and then everything practical to do with that: transport, accommodation, catering, like food and beverage was also your forte. My thing was very much like all the creative like stuff, like from stationery to seating plans to welcome hampers to music choices to dances. We had lots of dances, much to Nimlan's initial disappointment, but I think actually it works really well, and we bring that to our couples. And I think also what's really nice is we can bring a bride's point of view but also a groom's point of view. Like there are things that, not to stereotype, but for the most part the majority of grooms don't care about and aren't interested in, and like that's okay, because you can relate to the stuff that they are interested in, which is quite often budget, organisation of like guests, transport, those kinds of things, if it's relevant, and I can obviously completely empathise with brides who want the most perfect stationery, style, or like first dance song and things like that. So I think we work really well together. And it's
I mean, and like you said, I mean, the way that we approached our wedding is very similar to how most couples are, and for the most part it's sort of, the groom is very similar to myself and the bride is very similar to you, but that's not always the case. And there is normally one person who sort of envisaged this day as the most special day of their life, and whilst I obviously did think that as well, for me it was very much like, we're inviting all of these people either across the world or to a venue on a specific day, so that they're giving up their time for us. And I wanted to make sure that everyone coming to that wedding had the most amazing day alongside us. Whereas you were very much trying to make sure that you
I had my dream day.
Yeah, that you had your dream day, and that's really important as well. I mean, ultimately, it's the couple who are paying for the event for the most part, unless their parents are helping. But I mean, it's the day is for them.
Yeah.
But I just think you need to have somebody who's focusing on the guest side of things, and somebody who's focusing on the couple side of things, and then together it just makes it a fantastic day for everyone involved.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, because I think 100% the guests have to have a great time and the guests have to be looked after, but the wedding is still for yourself, and so things that are important to you, you have to make sure you prioritize. And like for me, it was the tiniest things. Like I wanted us to cut the cake at 42 seconds into the song, so that the cake was cut at the chorus and it all came together really epically, like how I imagined in my head. And so and obviously you probably can't even look back and remember what any of our cake cutting songs were.
Well, I do remember actually at the engagement party where we were standing hovering over the cake, and then you said, no, we can't cut it yet, we need to wait till 37 seconds. And then everyone's just staring at us. I do actually remember that. That's kind of ingrained and imprinted in my mind.
Yeah, but nobody was upset by it. Like
I was upset by it.
No, but the beat was building, and like the chorus was coming, and everyone was like waiting for it. And then obviously as soon as the chorus happened, we cut the cake, and everyone was wooing. Like that's way better than just start like cutting at the start of the song when it's just like the instrumental. Like
yeah, but I mean, yeah, if it was like a film and we were making a film rather than us just being there in the event, I just wanted to, cut the cake, dish out the cake. Did you even eat the cake?
I don't know, but that's not the point, because but that's not the point, because I'd imagined the cake cutting and yeah, you said that we weren't in a film, but actually a lot of these moments that people see on Instagram and stuff, and obviously you have to be really present in your wedding and you want to be fully there, but they don't just magically happen like that, right? Like you do need someone to be like, go in at this time, or
I wasn't getting married for Instagram.
I'm not saying I was getting married for Instagram, but I'm
saying... Just clarifying, just in case anybody thought
I'm not, no, but I'm saying that all these magical moments that you do see in films, like when they kiss and the fireworks come off, or like they spin on doing their first dance and then the cold sparks go, like that's not just by coincidence, it just magically happens.
I'm saying this very much kind of tongue-in-cheek. It is important to have somebody who's focusing on those small details, because if you're just kind of like plodding through the event and just expecting things to happen, they're not going to happen. And that's very much why kind of you make the event so special and memorable for the couple, because you are focusing on those small details, and I'm focusing very much on not those details, but the things in the background and the things for the guests.
Yeah, teamwork
makes the dream work. #plan by Pristine. So let's just dial it back, going back to our own wedding, and I guess in many ways the reason why we started Pristine.
Yeah.
I think when I initially proposed and we started the wedding planning process, you were very keen on the idea of a destination wedding, and I think I probably was less so. Would you agree with that?
You didn't want to have one. Like
okay,
you,
so that's what I said.
Yeah, I think. I guess to be fair, you kind of want what you generally know, and I think where we hadn't really been to any destination weddings until we went to one of our best friends' one. You don't really know what to expect about it. So I think but my main thing was that I wanted something very different, and I think I knew that if we did our Indian wedding in the UK, it would have been a much bigger wedding, and I just didn't want
You didn't want me and my family to invite 700 to 800 of our closest family and friends.
Basically, yeah. Basically,
okay.
yeah. I just feel like that vibe wasn't for me. I wanted something much more intimate. I mean, 200 people abroad is still not necessarily intimate, but it's much more intimate than what it would have been if we were here. We both have huge families. Our parents are like one of 6, 7, 8 siblings. So if you think about just first cousins alone, and I'm sure a lot of couples can relate to this, like it would have been a very big thing. And I think I really like the idea of it being abroad. Everyone's happier when they're on holiday. You literally say I'm a different person when I'm on holiday. I become holiday Priya because I'm just a much better, nicer, happier person. So I think everyone's like that. Nobody's like, oh, I've got work, I'm not drinking because I've got to drive. Everyone's just more relaxed. And I think I just knew it's such a special time anyway to have everyone together in, like you always say, in one room, but actually to have everyone together in one resort for a few days is just such a special, like, and unique thing that is very hard to ever do again. So I just kind of had my heart set on it, and luckily for me, you tend to go along with my plans. So yeah.
No, and I think once we'd gone to a really good destination wedding, I was very much on board with it. And I spoke to the groom at the time, and I said, "Look, did you have a good time? Because it's all well and good. Actually, I did it you, and I actually focused on the couple. Did you have a good time? Because if the couple aren't having a good time, what is the point of putting on this spectacle just for the guests? Like, it is important for everybody to be having a good time, and he had a fantastic time. And then I guess we made the decision to get married abroad, but." I guess when you have a destination wedding, you're not always going to be able to get all of your guests to come and fly out there. And so that's why we wanted to have something in the UK as well. The issue is that when you have something in the UK, things snowball very much with all aspects of wedding planning. So, you wanted to have a nice sort of outdoor, indoor style summer wedding in a conservatory type building. And we picked Kew Gardens, which was unbelievable, beautiful, stunning. So you have the civil wedding, and then when you're planning the rest of the day, you think, okay, so we're inviting 200 people or so to the wedding. What are we going to do with them afterwards? We have to provide food or drink, and so you decide whether we bring them back to our houses, we go to a restaurant, and then you think, okay, so we have the venue, we may as well have the meal at the venue, and so then you pay for the extra charge for the whole day, and then you pay for the food for the guests, and then you think, actually we need to give them something to drink as well. So let's get them beer and wine, but then, are we skimping out? Should we do something else? And then you decide, okay, let's get spirits. And then you suddenly think, actually, it'd be quite nice if we had cocktails. And then you have a bartender and flare block bartenders. And then you have entertainment. And then you have a pianist and a guitar player from Britain's Got Talent. And
that wasn't entertainment. That was to sing mine and my dad's, like, dad-daughter dance. That wasn't like
entertained?
I was entertained, and guests were really entertained. But my point is, it wasn't like we had a band, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we had a pianist, but yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say. I feel like I think when you are wedding planning, part of you does have to, like, you just can't. I don't know, it's probably not very good advice, but you can't think too deeply about the money that you're going to spend. Like, set your budget and then be okay with spending that amount of money, but you can't be like, oh, okay, my budget is this, and then every time you have to, like, I don't know, put a deposit or, like, look at something, you're like, oh my god, it's so much money, because yes, it is so much money, but actually you just have to think of it. I kind of thought of it as Monopoly money, and I was like, it's okay, like, money comes and goes.
I mean, this doesn't bode well for our full planning couples who we specifically say that we're going to help them with financial planning for their wedding.
But
and
I
then
do
we
that.
describe it as Monopoly money, but...
No, and but my point is, you've set this money aside, you set your budget first, and then just be okay with it. Like, don't deep it too much, because in a normal world, you wouldn't spend, like, you wouldn't be like, okay, that's £1,000 or £2,000, I'm just going to spend that right away. Like, you do think about things, especially if it's like a big investment. But with weddings, things are just that much, and you have to just be okay with it. Like, once you've set your budget, you just have to be okay with it. You can't, like, deep it too much to be like, I'm spending, like, whatever it is for someone to sing for like 2 hours or whatever the supplier or whatever the thing is, because then you'll just be like, what am I doing? And if you have that mindset, then maybe a big wedding isn't for you. Maybe just do a much more intimate, low-key thing.
Yeah, completely. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, sometimes the best weddings are the most intimate weddings. where it's not kind of hundreds and hundreds of people, and it can just be sort of 50 people of your absolute closest friends and family. I guess the only thing with that is I find is quite difficult to get the dance floor going.
Yeah, the vibe.
But, you know, that's completely up to you as a couple, and if the guests have a good time, you have a good time. It doesn't matter. But I mean, if you are kind of going to go down the slightly bigger wedding route or having a destination wedding, then you know, budgets are typically going to go over and above what you planned. But I think it's one of those things. It should be, especially if you book us, one of the most amazing experiences of your life, and that is exactly the reason why we've started this business, because we want to make events like we had for our couples.
I feel like my motto, which you know what I always say to you, is that you can always make money but you can't always make memories. And I think, like I said, just set your budget, and we'll have episodes later on talking about planning, how to do your spreadsheets, and like how to budget, which will be led by Nim and other team members, because that's not my forte. But I think it's important, like you said, you just have to be okay with the budget that you put aside. Just spend it, and spend it happily, knowing that you're hopefully creating some of the best memories and moments of your life. Like, we have no regrets about our destination wedding, and everyone that attended, like you said, even until now, it's been over 2 years, will come up to us and be like, that was some of the best days of their lives, let alone ours. And it's so special to know that we had a part, like it was because of us that they came there, and it all happened.
Well, I mean, even your sister's best friend said it was the best weekend of her life, so that's definitely saying something.
Yeah.
And probably why you should book us.
No, exactly. And I think going back to like the fact about having the whole 2 wedding things, did you think there was a massive difference? I mean, we'll go into obviously destination planning, because that's a whole multiple episode thing.
Series.
Yeah, a whole series to talk about. But I mean, did you feel like there was a massive difference in the planning of both and like organising of both, or did you feel like it was
100%? I mean, ours specifically was in India, so there's obviously a time difference, a language barrier. We had our own planner at the time who was fantastic. But in terms of organising the specifics and the details, just that the culture of the people that you're dealing with is very different, and that's no disrespect to anybody in different cultures. It's just different. And you go to Europe and it's very different as well. In the UK, for the most part, I think people say in the UK, you know, Brits queue very well, and I think for the most part are quite punctual. Not Asian Brits, but most Brits are. But when you go to places like Europe or even in India, you want something done at a certain time, they'll just say, you know, it'll happen.
Yeah.
But for the most part, especially a bride like yourself, that doesn't really cut it.
Yeah. Like, we didn't get our final drinks menus, and bear in mind, I wanted to like review all of the stationery, check the names, because I had cocktail theme names for every single day, and they were all completely different, and I wanted to have it all checked like a week or 2 before, and then we literally didn't see them until the night before. And at that point I was like, well, I can't even do anything about it, so like, it is what it is. And luckily it was fine, but it was more just that stress of not being able to know. And I think we say that to our destination couples, don't we? Like, we have 3 big ones this year in Italy, in Turkey and Bahrain. So if you are thinking about destination wedding planning, then obviously again, please get in touch. But with regards to those couples, I've kind of already said to them from the beginning, like, abroad they do just work differently. Everything is a bit more in their time, everything is a little bit more lax, I think. They will get it done and it will be incredible, but it won't be like here, where sometimes they do final design like sign-offs like 6 weeks before. That's not typically the case that we've found when planning these abroad weddings, but that shouldn't put you off, because it's still an amazing experience.
And it touches on what you said earlier about going to a destination wedding. You're there typically for multiple days, and you're not having to travel back and forth. Hopefully the wedding venue is the same as where the hotel is, but even if it's not, people aren't driving home, people don't have childcare issues, people don't have work in the morning, and they're just enjoying that experience with you. And it's not a few hours on a Saturday night, it's, you know, multiple hours over the course of 3 or 4 days, or 2 or 3 days, and it's unforgettable. But that doesn't mean to say UK weddings aren't fantastic, because we've had both as couples but also been to weddings in the UK which have been incredible and unforgettable as well. So it's just about who you pick as your suppliers, your vendors, and as your planners.
Okay, so I thought we'd move on for the last part of today's episode to do a little quick Q&A from our followers. There's been loads of questions in, but I thought we'd just pick a few because we've got so much to talk about on upcoming episodes. So we'll start with, what's the worst thing you've seen at a wedding? Like the worst thing that's gone wrong at a wedding.
That's gone wrong?
Yeah.
Nothing goes wrong with that. Well, I mean, this wouldn't be the worst thing, but one of the funniest things that we've seen, which wasn't that funny at the time, is when a homeless person came in off the street and tried to join in with the procession of the bride and groom, and then the venue staff strangely came up to me, even though they work there and presumably are used to people coming in off the street, and then asked me what they should do. And then essentially we just got the security team to come down and escort them out of the building. But I think they were not very well, so we kind of had to kind of pacify them, and actually that kind of is where my sort of medical background came into a bit of use to try and convince them to leave, and they kindly did, and the couple were none the wiser until we told them 2 months later.
Yeah, that was really funny actually. And I remember you actually just really gently just like escorting them out. You actually act like a security guard quite a lot at weddings. I feel like you always
I think that's probably because of what I wear. I normally wear a black suit and then have an earpiece in, so sometimes they think like I am security.
Giving bouncer vibes.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is, when should you go on your honeymoon? Right, I feel really strongly about this. I think your honeymoon should not be the day after, even a couple of days after your wedding.
Agree.
Cannot explain how exhausted you are, both emotionally, mentally, physically. You're on this massive high, but you're also really drained. You also want to debrief. There's also loads of just stuff everywhere, like stuff that especially as a bride, you'll literally go back to your room, there'll be like extensions in one place, like tape in another place. There's just like stuff everywhere. So the idea of packing that all up and then going to Heathrow, I couldn't think of anything worse.
Yeah, I mean, I get the reason why. I mean, sometimes with people's work in terms of taking annual leave, it's easier to take off 4 weeks instead of just 2 weeks and get it all done in one block. But we had a sort of mini moon after our destination wedding, and after the sensory overload of getting married and speaking to 200 guests over the course of 3 days, and then suddenly deciding to go on holiday afterwards or fly to somewhere else afterwards, I was mentally, physically drained. I just laid down. I was horizontal for about 2.5 days.
You didn't talk to me for like, honestly, he was like, I had lost my voice anyway, and he just lay in silence. And I was like, oh my God, babe, look at these stories that like so-and-so have uploaded.
I couldn't even look at videos from the wedding.
He was like, please.
I was just so
overwhelmed,
like
overstimulated. And then it was like 3 days later that we then started to like slowly debrief and recover. Yes, I think if you can do like a mini moon after, even if you just stay in the same hotel, stay in a lovely hotel nearby.
Definitely don't go back to work straight afterwards.
Yeah,
like, have
don't
at
do
least
that.
like 2 or 3 days off if you can, just to kind of get back into the swing of things. Otherwise, on the day of your wedding, you'll have Sunday night blues.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think save your honeymoon for when you can do like a good chunk away, and you've had time to recover, you've had time to put your stuff back
and save some money.
And
I mean, you've just blown a very sizable sum probably on your wedding, which is obviously definitely money well spent, but it just gives you some time to kind of put aside to save again for another fantastic experience that you'll treasure for the rest of your life.
And we did ours a year later, didn't we? Because we wanted to prioritize like buying our place and moving, and also saving money again. So, and we loved it, because I feel like also then you get that excitement back. Like you have like, oh my God, I'm planning for my honeymoon, need to get all my like wifey merch, need to like plan all these cute dinners and outfits, and like you can get that excitement back. Whereas when everything's done in one go, you then have real wedding blues, because then it's just like wedding, honeymoon, bang, and then it's back to normal life. So I think if you can, obviously different circumstances, but I think that's what I would say. Okay, next one's for you.
Okay.
How is it being in business with your wife?
It's a very, very interesting question. Did you ask this question yourself? Okay. How is it? No, I mean, to be honest, it's great. I think with weddings and events, it's very on social hours. I mean, you're working typically weekends, long days. I mean, I'm used to it from being a doctor, but I think doing it when you've kind of actively chosen to start a business, and if I wasn't doing it with you, we wouldn't see each other. I think we also work really well together, whilst we're very different. I mean, again, like you're very much more creative and I'm much more kind of logistics orientated. It just comes together quite well. I guess the only downside is when it was originally just us two and now we have a bigger team, but we have the same walkie-talkies connected to the whole team. So at the beginning we could shout and scream at each other and sort of get the job done, but now when we shout and scream at each other, 3 or 4 other people can hear it on the walkie-talkie, so that's not great. But no, I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's very draining, but I think when we're coming back from the events, we're always just on such a high and such a buzz, and it's great to share that with you. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the only thing that I would say is that sometimes it's very easy to then always be talking about work, because there's always stuff to do. And I think especially recently I've tried to have better boundaries, to be like, cool, let's put laptops away, put phones away, let's just like watch a film and try not to constantly bring it back to work or things that need to be done and stuff. But it's so much fun. Like I couldn't imagine doing it with anyone else. So
lame as that sounds. Okay, so next one, we've got a couple more and then we're going to wrap this up. Do you have any wedding regrets?
From our own wedding?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the bride. No. Honestly, no. And I think it's very easy with your wedding day to think about what went well and what didn't go well. And I think just focus on what went well. You can dwell on things that didn't go to plan, but unless, I don't know, there was a fire or something, like,
Oh my
if
God.
you had a good time, just remember the good times. Don't focus on things that are now kind of unchangeable. And I don't have any regrets.
Yeah, I don't have any major ones. I think there'd be little things like I should have listened to you and we should have joined at least one of our drinks receptions. I love that I've got that on camera saying that you were right.
Yeah.
But no, I do, and I see all of our couples now are doing it. And
Yeah.
actually, I always say in the planning calls, like, I would really encourage it if you've got time in your timeline. If we can get you ready at least half an hour early, just join it for even if
Yeah.
it's just for 20 minutes. That is the most informal time of your day when you can actually speak to your guests. So I can't emphasize enough that if you can do it because you actually get to chat, you get to have a drink, get to enjoy the cocktails and canapes you've spent hours
Because once the
deciding.
reception starts, I mean, typically the bride and groom are sitting at the head table, so
Yeah.
they're only talking to each other.
Yeah.
Whereas the drinks reception, they can walk around, mingle, and then once the dancing starts, if it's a drinking wedding, you probably aren't going to have any meaningful conversations after about 9 p.m.
Yeah, no, exactly. So exactly that. As a destination couple, what's your one tip when it comes to planning the events for guests?
I think I might contradict myself here, but you need to make it enjoyable for the guests, because you are essentially making them change their travel plans for that year, because some people only go on holiday once a year. You need to make sure that it's an enjoyable experience for them, but at the same time, you don't have to occupy every minute of every hour of their day. They are on holiday, and for the most part, I'd hope that they're in a hotel. If there is 3 or 4 hours of downtime, they're going to appreciate that.
Yeah.
They're going to appreciate some time to just chill, maybe go in the pool, maybe go for a walk, maybe explore the surrounding area. You don't need to pack it with events and activities
Yeah.
and things that they're forced to do. They do want to obviously enjoy the wedding and experience, but they don't want to feel like they're on a planned tour
Yeah, of your wedding.
of your wedding.
Yeah. No, that's really good advice.
Thank
Perfect. And then the last one is just someone said if you had one piece of advice to give to a bride and groom who are getting married this year, so shout out to our 2025 couples, what would it be?
I say this to every couple, and the girls on our team always cringe when I say it, but you have to remember that there is no other period, there's no other time in your life when every single person or every single close family and friend is going to be there for you on one single day and just there for you. You might have birthdays in the future or anniversaries, and you'll get maybe a fraction of those numbers of people, but this is the day that everybody is coming together for you, so just enjoy it. Don't focus or don't dwell on things that aren't important or out of your control. Just enjoy it.
Yeah, agree. I think mine would be just book good suppliers, and that's not even a plug for Pristine, but I mean, I would say we're a very good supplier. But I mean, not even just planners or coordinators, I mean every supplier. Like, don't just book the cheapest one because you're looking for a good deal. Don't just book one because a friend said it's good and you haven't actually researched it or tried their stuff or met them. Really take your time to read reviews, speak to other couples that have used them, look at their work, and ideally try and meet them on Zoom if you can, if not in person, to get a really good gut feeling, because these people are the people that are going to run your day. So if you don't trust them, if you don't get a good vibe from them, that kind of just indicates what it may play out like. And we've seen weddings where they've been not so great suppliers that sometimes turn up, don't know the couple's name, don't know the plan, and we honestly wonder, like, if we weren't there to recap things, I have no idea what would happen.
Stay tuned for some naming and shaming of those.
No, we're not going to name and shame. We're not going to name and shame. But it's really important, because then you have suppliers that turn up, good energy, positive vibes, go above and beyond for their couples, like throw in extra things because they're like, oh, do you know what? It will look even better if I just do this. We'll stay a little bit longer and we'll make so much effort to make that couple's day amazing. And you can just see those two weddings are like worlds apart. So like, just take the time to book good suppliers. Obviously, you have to stay within budget, but prioritize what's important to you from your wedding day and really invest in good people and trust them with your day, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's loads more, but we'll get through these on upcoming episodes.
Yeah.
Lots of upcoming episodes.
Ask some more questions to our followers.
Yes, yeah, we're going to do more Q&A. So please, if you didn't put any in this week, we'll give you some chance to do
Followers
that.
makes it sound like we have a cult.
on our Instagram, which is at _
Pristine
Pristine Events _ and TikTok. So please put some more in. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to go through all of them today, but we've got lots of exciting episodes coming up.
Yeah, so many exciting episodes. So, I mean, I guess chronologically, we've got planning proposals, picking your bridesmaids, groomsmen, planning your engagement party, deciding on a UK versus destination wedding.
Yeah.
And then we've got loads of episodes on
catering, decor, DJ, do you get DJ or live band, how to budget, the best wedding apps and like websites and things to use, or wedding insurance, like literally music, everything that you could possibly want to know wedding wise, we will have episodes on, and we will hopefully have lots of exciting guests as well to give their insights and their stories and their experience. So
and the difficult things about weddings as well was cutting down guest lists.
Yeah.
Falling out with family members, falling out with your own bridal party.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole experience. It's a part of your life, getting married, and you know there are significant ups and downs, and we're definitely going to be getting into those in future episodes.
Yeah, definitely. So
Ominous.
Stay tuned. Thanks for listening.
Please like, follow, subscribe for more.